Some truths are born in silence. Some lessons arrive when the world turns its back, and the only sound left is your own breath. There's a voice that comes when you stop drowning in noise, the one that whispers you were never here to control anyone, only yourself. And yet, every day, people stand in crowds, eyes turned outward, hunting for validation in places that were never meant to hold them. Why do you look at the world and ask it to shape you? Why beg your reflection to grow in a mirror built from other people's eyes? Have you ever stood alone long enough to feel how much of your life is rented out to things you can't command? Gossip, judgment, praise, envy. The ancient ones knew this. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. A whisper from Confucius, yet it rings as true in concrete cities as it did in sand and marble. Sit with that. You were given a mind as a kingdom, but most trade that kingdom for cheap applause, scrolling until your thumb is sore, comparing your raw skin to other people's highlight reels. Every glance outside is a debt. Every click, a drip of your power leaking into someone else's pocket. Marcus Aurelius asked himself in the dark, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." How many times has your strength been pawned for a hit of approval? How often do you surrender your calm to what others think, or worse, what they never even said out loud, but you imagined behind their silence? There's a sickness in the modern mind, overthinking. It spins shadows into enemies, silence into rejection, a glance into an insult. And so the mind bends under its own weight, convinced that mastering the world comes before mastering the self. But it never has. It never will. When you want revenge, who suffers first? When you compare yourself, who bleeds? When you crave control over someone else's love, who loses dignity piece by piece until the mirror cracks and you stand there empty, wondering why your spine feels soft? Self-mastery is not heroic. It is not a prize they pin to your chest while the crowd claps. It is a slow, private war. It is the quiet refusal to betray your own mind. It's the tiny moment you want to lash out and you sit still. It's the moment anger rises and you bury it under breath and reason. Epictetus knew this when he said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." They didn't have screens in his time, no feeds, no comments, no digital shadows to measure worth. Yet he saw the same chains, envy, desire, rage, the same prison bars that stand inside your ribs, not outside them. Look at your days. Where does your time go? Who owns your morning when your eyes open? What steals your calm before you've even stood up? A slave with gold chains is still a slave. A mind decorated with books and quotes means nothing if it bows every time the world pokes it. The storm outside is loud. It wants your mind. It wants your peace. It wants you tired enough to click, to rage, to gossip, to crave. It wants you drunk on comparison, so you forget you can close the door anytime. Seneca wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." It is not flashy. It is not dramatic. It is the cold blade of discipline drawn slow and steady each day. It is the tiny victories no one sees, when you hold your tongue, when you wake before the noise, when you sit alone without begging a screen to keep you company. Self-mastery is not isolation. It is not cold detachment from life's warmth. It is the opposite. It is stepping fully into life with your spine unbent, your mind clear, your heartbeat yours to command when fear wants to rush it into panic. Most won't do this. It's too quiet. It has no audience. The world teaches you to chase the next thing, the next status, the next lover, the next look that says you've made it. But when you master yourself first, those things lose their teeth. They no longer own you. Love becomes real when you don't cling to it to survive. Status becomes dust when you see how quickly crowds forget yesterday's hero. Aristotle said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." But how many truly sit with themselves long enough to hear what lies beneath the noise? A man who owns himself is feared and trusted in equal measure. Feared because you can't move him with lies. Trusted because you know the storms that sway lesser souls don't touch him. He does not promise the world his fire to be light. He burns slow and bright for himself first. And others feel that warmth, but never own it. So here's the question you avoid in the mirror when you wake up tired of everyone's opinions. When you feel that hollow pull that says there must be more, who would you be if no one told you who to be? If no comment could shape your spine? If no rejection could steal your calm? Overthinking dies when you master your mind. Envy dies when you stand rooted in what you hold inside. Fear fades when you realize no one can reject you unless you've given them parts of yourself they were never meant to hold. Some truths are not taught. They are remembered when you sit still enough to hear them. That quiet room where your excuses can't hide. That cold moment you see how much of your misery was built by your own hand, clenching too tight around illusions. Master yourself first. Everything else bends in time. The storm will come. It always does. But the man who owns his mind owns the calm beneath the wind. There is no crown, no medal. There is only the weight of your own breath, steady, yours, unchained. And when you stand that still, the world feels it too. It bows to what it cannot shake. So stand there in your own silence. Let the storms pass. Let the noise shout. Hold yourself first, because the mind that owns itself kneels to nothing. There will always be voices that beg you to bend. Old fears whispering that you're not enough without their approval. Old ghosts trying to live again through your weakness. Let them talk. Let them circle. Let them wear themselves out against the stone calm you've built behind your ribs. A man who masters himself first does not fear losing anything else, because he knows the real treasure is not out there to be stolen. It breathes behind his eyes. It stands when everything else crumbles. When dawn comes and the world demands who you are, say nothing. Show them in how you stand. Let them feel it in the way you do not beg to be seen. And when the noise is gone, when the crowds drift off to chase the next distraction, your calm will remain, unbent, unowned, yours.